I published a poem about my ex in a literary magazine he'd been trying to get into for years. So my ex, Dylan, thought he was the next Shakespeare with an Instagram handle. We dated for 2 years, and honestly, those 2 years were just me being an unpaid audience to his never-ending TED Talk about how the world didn't understand his genius. Every 3 months, like clockwork, he'd get another rejection email from this one magazine, Midwest Voices, and then spend the next 48 hours pacing around like he was some tragic artist society had wronged. Bro was basically Romeo if Romeo had Wi-Fi and a trust fund from his grandma. He was one of those dudes who wore vintage band tees but couldn't name a single album. He had this Nirvana shirt that he lived in, and one time I asked him his favorite track and he literally said, smells like Teen Spirit. That was his only answer. He'd sit at coffee shops with his ancient laptop that sounded like a jet engine and type furiously, pausing dramatically just so people could see how tortured he was. The worst part? He'd read me his poems out loud. Every single one was about rain, loneliness, and how society crushes individuality. Pure Tumblr core. When we broke up, it was messy as hell. He cheated on me with some girl from his writing group, then gave me this Oscar-worthy speech about how I was holding back his creativity. He literally said, "Our relationship is too normal. I need someone who understands my artistic soul." Bro, your artistic soul was just stolen Sylvia Plath quotes and American spirits. I found out about the cheating because she posted a selfie of them at the same coffee shop where he wrote his so-called masterpieces. I wanted to throw my laptop out the window. Anyway, right after that breakup, I had to turn in a final project for my creative writing class. I was fried, stressed, and still mad at Dylan's greasy face. Then I remembered all those nights listening to him moan about rejection letters, and I thought, bet. I wrote a poem about a guy who thinks he's deep but is really just a pretentious cheater. I didn't use his name, but I laced it with Easter eggs anyone who knew him would catch. The Nirvana tea, the dramatic sighs he did before ordering coffee, the way he quoted books he never actually read. My professor lost her mind over it, said it had raw honesty, suggested I submit it somewhere. And of course, I knew exactly where to send it. Midwest Voices. I spent the whole weekend polishing it like it was a diamond, and wrote this fake deep cover letter about authenticity versus performance in modern relationships. Sounded very Ivy League, not my ex is a clown. 3 weeks later, I got the acceptance email. I screamed so loud my roommate thought I'd burned myself with a flat iron. When the issue came out, Dylan's friends started tagging him on Instagram. He apparently bought 5 copies of the magazine just to analyze it. His new girlfriend even commented on one post like, "OMG, have you read this?" The shade was delicious. But the chef's kiss moment? Running into him at Target. He was in line with a cart full of frozen pizzas, spotted me, turned tomato red, and just abandoned his cart. Like literally left it there and said something about forgetting an item before speed walking out of the store. Dude got humbled so bad he couldn't even finish shopping for Hot Pockets. Mutual friends told me he stopped submitting to magazines for months. Guess rejection letters sting, but getting dunked on by your ex in print? That's a career pause. The cherry on top was when my poem got nominated for my school's writing prize, won second place and a $500 check. I used the money to take myself out to that fancy steakhouse Dylan always said we couldn't afford, ate like a queen,